contrast signal. Become the exception in their world. Human beings survive on patterns. We navigate by familiarity, predictability, and repetition. When someone behaves exactly as we expect, they blend into the background of our awareness. They become part of the noise. Another face, another voice, another forgettable moment in the constant flood of stimuli. But the moment someone breaks a pattern, we notice. This is the contrast signal. The psychological phenomenon where anything that deviates from the expected becomes amplified in the mind. A calm person in a chaotic room, a disciplined voice in a culture of excuses, a thoughtful presence in a world of impulsiveness, a stoic in a society that worships reaction. You don't need to be flashy or dramatic. You simply need to be different enough that their mind cannot categorize you into the usual boxes. When someone cannot immediately define you, they think about you. Contrast is not about performance, it's about authenticity. When you stand in your true identity, you create an energetic signature that separates you from everyone else. And the mind remembers the exception, not the repetition. 2. Strategic withdrawal. Let the mind chase what it started to feel. There's a psychological truth as old as human emotion itself. People don't obsess over what they fully possess. They obsess over what they almost had. When you pull back at the right moment, not out of insecurity or fear, but out of intention, you create an emotional cliffhanger. The story feels incomplete. The feeling feels unresolved. The moment ends before their mind is ready to let it go. And the mind hates unfinished emotional business. It will replay the moment. It will analyze the silence. It will attempt to fill in the gap. This is where psychological attachment forms, not in the moment of connection, but in the moment of interruption. The Stoics understood this paradox deeply. Sometimes presence is loudest when it is absent. Strategic withdrawal is not ghosting. It is not manipulation. It is a precise, deliberate step back that gives the other person space to feel the weight of your absence. Because when you step away with dignity and calm self-assurance, you create a vacuum. And the human brain cannot resist filling a vacuum. And what fills that space is thought of you. 3. Silent influence. When your calm speaks louder than any word. Silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of power. Most people fear silence. They rush to fill every second with noise, explanations, reassurance, validation. There's a quiet reaction. But silence, when controlled and intentional, becomes one of the strongest psychological tools available. When you respond slowly instead of instantly, when you speak with purpose instead of impulsiveness, when you choose silence instead of engaging in trivial arguments, you create psychological weight. Your silence becomes a mirror that reveals their inner world. They project their insecurities, their assumptions, and their interpretations onto the empty space you leave behind. And while they replay your silence, guess who they're thinking about? You. Stoics mastered this art. They understood that silence is not a lack of communication, it is a higher form of communication. Your silence says, I am unshaken, I am centered, I am not controlled by your urgency. And that presence, that unyielding steadiness, leaves an imprint that echoes in their mind long after the moment ends. 4. Emotional grounding. Becoming their inner home base. This principle is not dark. It is deeply human. One of the most powerful psychological triggers is emotional grounding. The experience of feeling safe, understood, and emotionally regulated around someone. When you offer clarity during their confusion, when you respond with calm instead of chaos, when you remain composed when others crumble, you become a source of internal stability. And stability is addictive. People remember the ones who make them feel capable, calm, seen, balanced, less chaotic in their own mind. This is the paradox. Even if your role in their life is small or temporary, the emotional anchor you provide becomes unforgettable. In a world where most people spread anxiety, the one who spreads stability becomes a sanctuary. And sanctuaries are not easily forgotten. 5. The aura of self-sufficiency. When your confidence creates mystery. There is a form of confidence that does not yell, brag, or seek validation. It is quiet, self-contained, grounded, elegant. confidence rooted in self-sufficiency, not arrogance, but inner completeness. This type of presence creates a psychological paradox. They want your attention, but they can see you don't need theirs. This creates curiosity, fascination, desire to understand you, questions that keep replaying. The mind is magnetized by what it cannot fully grasp. Your calm confidence becomes an emotional puzzle, and humans are naturally drawn to puzzles. Stoics embodied this effortlessly. Their sense of self came from within, not from applause or approval. When you carry yourself with this type of quiet certainty, you activate the instinctive urge in others to decode you. They will think about you simply because they do not fully understand you, and the brain cannot rest until the unknown becomes known. 6. Warmth plus distance. The most potent psychological combination. Nothing affects the mind more deeply than emotional contradiction. Warmth alone is comforting but predictable. Distance alone is intriguing but cold. But when you combine the two, when you move fluidly between availability and independence, you create the most powerful psychological push-pull dynamic. They feel close to you, and then suddenly they feel the space. They feel understood by you, and then suddenly they feel your independence. They feel the connection, and then feel the self-sufficiency. Their mind cannot settle. The emotional tension creates intensity, and intensity creates memory. But this must be done with integrity, never to manipulate, never to harm. This principle is only powerful when you yourself are grounded and not acting out of insecurity. Used wisely, it creates a profound psychological presence. Used recklessly, it becomes cruelty. The key is balance. Warmth reveals your humanity. Distance reveals your strength. And together, they make you unforgettable. 7. The narrative shift. When your growth forces them to reevaluate you, there is something electrifying about watching someone rise, evolve, and transform. When you begin improving your discipline, elevating your mindset, taking care of your body, building your purpose, raising your standards, upgrading your habits, you disrupt the old narrative they held about you. People are forced to reconsider who you are. They question what changed, when it changed, and how they missed it. Growth makes people think. Transformation demands attention. And nothing occupies the mind more persistently than someone who suddenly becomes better than they were. This is not petty revenge. This is not proving anyone wrong. This is you stepping into your higher self. And in doing so, becoming unforgettable to anyone who ever knew the previous version of you. Their thoughts follow your growth because deep down, they feel the shift and they can't ignore it. 8. The legacy imprint. Becoming the person who alters their inner world. This is the deepest, most enduring psychological effect of all. Humans never forget the people who change something inside them. Their mindset